Hey, today I'm going to take you through the process of building a Johnson Sioux bioreactor. It's just really a compost pile. It's not very complicated. It takes a few easy to find parts. It takes about a day to put one together. The hardest part is collecting all the materials that you want to put in there. Stick around to the end and I'll show you what the finished compost looks like. And you've seen me use this compost to make a slurry and apply it to the seeds. And what I do is I take that compost and wet it with rainwater and kind of filter it out into a bucket, put that into a spray bottle, and I spray that on my seeds at planting time. That generates a good biology right around the seed, gets those plants off to a great start, and starts building that soil health that's so important. All right, enjoy the video. Okay, to start with, we take a pallet and put some landscape fabric on. I stapled that onto the pallet. Then we take our 2x4 inch hog wire and I'm tying the landscape fabric to that with some plastic zip ties. I'm just cutting some, 2 holes in the landscape fabric, running it through around the wire and zipping them shut. Once I get enough, then I cut the wire to make a loop and make a loop out of it. Here I'm marking where my tubes are going to go. I want to mark them so that I'm straddling the crack between 2 slats. You can see how I'm not cutting a whole slat out. I'm just cutting a half of a slat, if that makes sense. That way the integrity of the pallet stays strong. Here I'm putting some screws in to fasten the wire. You can't see what I'm doing here, but I'm putting some tomato stakes across the top, and that's what I'm going to fasten my tubes to. Here I'm fastening the tubes, lining them up with the holes in the pallet so air can flow. Now I'm ready for filling. I should have a tube in the middle, but I only have that many tubes and I didn't want to go get another one, so I'm just going to chance it. The tubes ought to be a foot from each other and a foot from the edge of the outside ring. Here I have chicken manure in the bucket, and I have cow manure and hay from a cow barn and a bale of hay. There's some garden scraps and some leaves from last year. They're about halfway composted. So now I'm just going to mix all that together in a pile. Got some extra grass clippings there from mowing the lawn. Mixing them in. I got some leaves out of the woods. Mix that in as well. Here I'm putting rainwater in. I don't want to use city water because it's got stuff in that might kill microbes. Okay, so there's one last thing that I'm going to put in. The last food plot that I planted, there was a bunch of chaff from a corn planter off to the side. A lot of corn cobs and stuff piled up. And there was some nice fungus growing in there. A lot of white mycelium in it. So I grabbed a can of that. Put that in there. Oh, hopefully it comes out. Good stuff. It's partially rotted. Man, I'll tell you what, it takes a lot of stuff to fill that thing. I think I'm going to top it off with the hay that I have left, and then that'll be it. So we let that rot for a year. I'll put a thermometer in the side and keep it wet, and then the temperature should come up as it rots, and when it comes back down a little bit from the first rush of bacterial multiplication, that's what causes all that heat, then we'll take the thermometer out. You don't have to worry about it anymore. I'll put worms in there. Okay, once that settles, we'll take the tubes out, and that'll leave a column in there that air can flow up and down. And you never want the compost pile to go anaerobic. That's the whole idea. And in the end, you have this beautiful compost that you can see how nice that is, and it's easy to work with. You saw in an earlier video how I make an extract with it, and we put that on the seeds at planting, and I think it really makes a big difference in how fast the seeds germinate and how fast they get up out of the ground and start growing. Also, when you have a good mycorrhizal fungal net down there and good bacterial interaction with the roots, then more nutrients get into your plants, and the more nutrient rich your plants are, the more deer like them, and that's the whole goal of the food plotting anyway. So good stuff. We just got to let this go for a year and we'll have a compost. All right, thanks for watching. That's how you do a Johnson Sued compost pile.